I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. Since the 1960s, Americans have been eating more and more chicken every year. That's according to the National Chicken Council. Americans consume about 97.5 pounds of chicken each year on average. That's a lot of chicken. This week, Twila's Carl Wiggers heads up to Shreveport to introduce us to a farmer bringing some of that chicken and a few other things to our tables.
Hi, my name is Evan McCommon. My wife and I are the owners of Mahaffey Farms in Houghton, Louisiana, just outside of Shreveport, and we raise beef, pork, and chicken on pasture. My wife and I were paying attention to our health, and we saw some movies and read some books and things that made us start thinking we wanted to eat clean food. And we couldn't find it locally. And I started looking into this concept of like, well, what can we do on our, can we grow our own? What about the Shreveport Farmers Market? You know, can I get stuff there? And nobody was really doing it. And I was like, well, here's this opportunity for me to earn a living off the land and improve my lifestyle and the way we eat, and for the community as well. I started reading lots of books, going to seminars. I make a lot of mistakes. I correct them, I work on them, I improve things. We abandon some ideas because they don't work or they're not practical. But in general, we are seeing huge results, especially with our pasture broilers and our pigs. And our cattle operation is getting better every year. We started with vegetables, went to pork after that. Pork is probably still our highest poundage business, maybe. I think we still process pigs every week. We raise heritage breeds. We kind of concentrate on a lot of things that are unique and really focused on flavor and traditional methods of growing things, with a twist of this regenerative agriculture where our goal is to improve the soil and improve biodiversity first and foremost. And so we're interested in types of agriculture that build soil, and regenerative just means to regenerate. When you're moving animals and rotating them, they're leaving manure and urine. Instead of you having to like scoop it out of a barn and then put it on a spreader and spread it in the field with trucks and diesel fuel, the animals are doing it themselves because we're moving them around. It's not that complicated, but it's just, there's a lot of nuance within every segment. On our pasture broilers, we move them every day of the year. With the pandemic and things and the real attention on the food system and local meat, we've just taken off raising a lot of pastured chicken here right now. Lately has been consuming a lot of our time. I guess it was 2017 or 2018, we purchased the Eastwood Fairways golf course, which is the land that was adjacent to our farm, but it was connected to Highway 80. Buying this golf course allowed us to have signage on the highway and move the farm store to the old clubhouse of the golf course. In order for us to make a living on this, we kind of have to do everything ourselves, all the way down to the checkout with the customer, with the end product, processing and everything. And the challenge is actually finding people that really are passionate about agriculture or the business of agriculture. To work with us, you're going to learn to do a lot of things, or you're not going to be here very long. It's just a constant, we have infrastructure, we have schedules, we have people that are doing different jobs on certain days, supply chain issues. It's pretty hectic around here, and but it's never a dull moment. One of the biggest rewards that's happened for us is knowing that our chicken is now on some of the finest plates and the finest restaurants in New Orleans, and being a part of that food scene. Also having so many people find out about what we're doing and have us deliver to their homes and start really caring about what they eat. We just kind of take it for granted. Food is just something that's on every corner. Real food and real stories is really what it comes down to, and just happy customers. We don't deal with people complaining. I mean, I don't want to become Tyson Chicken. We want to be a small scale producer with a high quality product. So there has to be a stopping point. And I don't know if we're approaching that yet or not.
If you'd like to get your hands on some of the products from Mahaffey Farms, you may find them pretty close by. They're in a handful of stores from New Orleans to Shreveport and a lot of places in between. To find a place near you, head over to our website at twilatv.org. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. I say that because agriculture is a stressful job. There are so many factors outside of your control: weather, markets, heck, a global pandemic. That's why the American Farm Bureau created a new resource called Farm State of Mind.
Your value is more than the markets. It's more than your acres, and more than your livestock, and more than your bank account. We are humans too. We are community members, we're volunteers, we're creative, we're problem solvers. There's so much to us. When a family friend of ours passed away to suicide, it was a real eye-opener for us. When we were in line at the visitation, people said, you know, what happened? What was it that caused this? And as a former counselor, I knew that it wasn't one thing. Suicide doesn't start at the end there. There's one thing that causes it. That's not how it works. It's a culmination of things. It starts as stress, and it continues as excruciating and chronic stress or depression or anxiety, and it just builds. We had a new baby and a not even 2-year-old at the time, and we really took that opportunity to look in the mirror and say, you know, we're experiencing a lot of stress right now, too much stress right now, to the point where it's becoming out of control, and we probably need to do something about it. That was the time for us that we really made the decision to start talking more, start getting some professional help, which is really hard to do. It's really hard to rip that Band-Aid. But in doing so and making some major changes in our own home, we know that our outcome was well worth that time and those efforts, because we know that we were going down a path that wasn't going to be good.
As a farmer and rancher in North Carolina, I know firsthand the stresses and the struggles that come with this way of life. I've seen it affect good friends, and I've lost good friends. I don't want to lose anyone else. It's time to end the stigma around mental health, and we can only do that when we come together and we keep spreading the message that it's okay to not be okay.
The stigma in rural communities is really troublesome, because what it does is it keeps us isolated. It keeps us quiet. We don't want to talk about the stresses that we're having or the struggles that we're having, because it makes us seem weak or embarrassed. And when we do that, we don't share that with each other. We don't realize that other people are going through some of the same things that we're going through. So then that really puts up a wall between people who need to get help and their willingness to go out and get it and find it. You don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to be a doctor. You just have to be someone who can sit with empathy and listen to someone without judging the position they're in.
That's our 25th wedding anniversary.
We want to empower people to ask for help, but we also want to make sure that we are reaching out ourselves. We're expressing concern. We're talking about the things we notice. Hey, I noticed that you usually stick around and chat at the farm when we've wrapped something up, but right now you're always in a rush to get out. Is everything okay? Just showing that genuine concern, that genuine care for someone, and more importantly than anything is just listening. When agriculture organizations like Farm Bureau use that leadership platform to advocate for mental health and to bring awareness and priority to mental health, it teaches farm and ranch families that it's okay to talk about tough things. They show you that your health is a priority to them, your wellness is a priority to them, that you as an individual and as a farmer are a priority to them. It's not just your farm, it's not just your equipment and all the other things that go along with the farm. It's you, and they want you to be well. It allows people, most importantly, to connect to resources that they might need. They allow us to bridge that gap between people who need some sort of help and finding, where that help is. All we have to do is make it okay to talk about stress, to talk about depression, to talk about some of these things that are tough to talk about right now.
If a friend is acting different than normal, I encourage you to see if you can lend them a hand, help them with a chore, or even just go on a drive to look at farm ground and fields. Make sure they're okay. Let them know that you're there for them. If you are down or depressed, I encourage you to ask for help. It's okay. We've been there before, and you're not alone. Let's end the stigma of mental health. We're all in this together.
That video is just the beginning. The American Farm Bureau Federation set up a special website with lots of great information to help you or someone you love take the first steps to getting help when it comes to mental health. On the Farm State of Mind website, you'll find a list of warning signs, ways to start the conversation about mental health, and even a directory with resources in every state, including Louisiana. The Louisiana Farm Bureau also has a page on its website focusing on mental health with even more resources for you or your loved ones. The most important things to remember: someone cares. Take time to talk about your troubles and stress, and it's okay to not be okay. You'll find links to both of those web pages on our website at twilatv.org. Crawfish is a staple of Louisiana culture and cuisine, and right now it is the peak season for these delicious crustaceans. Twila's Jennifer Finley takes us to Tony's Seafood, where the Baton Rouge staple has been known to sell as much as 50,000 pounds of live and boiled crawfish in a single day.
Hey Jennifer, it's Charles over at Tony's Seafood. We're going to take you around today, show you some of our crawfish operations. We're about to load up our crawfish right now. It's a little early this morning, and we're going to show you where we boil those crawfish back this way. All these baskets have about 400 pounds of crawfish in them, so at one time we can have about 1,600 pounds of crawfish in process. We got a little live crawfish ready to go. They're getting ready to boil. Crawfish are starting to look really nice this time of year. They're growing, getting big, so yeah, it won't be long. This will be somebody's lunch. All right, so let's show you how the crawfish come in and we receive them. We'll get a couple crawfish trucks delivered here, and we also have about 3 crawfish trucks we send on the road to pick up at different docks. So we have a cooler just for the live crawfish. So this cooler, just for storage purposes, you always think about a cooler being as cold as possible, 35 degrees, keep everything fresh. That's too cold for crawfish, so we keep this one about 48 degrees. That keeps the crawfish dormant and they last a good long time. And I've got some crawfish we boiled and they're preparing for shipping. Yeah, I probably got about 400 to 600 pounds of cold crawfish going out all over the country. So yeah, we've got all these Louisiana folks that have moved out of the state, but they still need their crawfish, so we can help them out with that. All right, so right now, what we have is we already processed this morning's crawfish with our mega crawfish washer. We just call it the conveyor, or the belt. So what happens here is crawfish are muddy. The crawfish get poured into this contraption here. They go into a bath, they get washed, they go up this conveyor. And any of the little tiny crawfish, little bits of shell, trash, fish, grass, all the things that would be in the crawfish ponds are out in the crawfish sack that we don't want in our boil. So all that junk, we want to make sure that's not one of the ingredients in our boil. That's one of the reasons we do sell that much crawfish, is because the crawfish are clean. They're not just being hosed on a table and we hope they're clean. No, we make a lot of effort to make sure that these crawfish are clean and they taste like really good crawfish instead of tasting like mud. That's looking pretty good. Not quite ready. We're gonna let it season a little bit more, get all that good flavor in there, and then we're gonna dump these out, and you might have some of that for lunch.
The world's greatest crawfish right here at Tony's Seafood. Look how pretty they are, big and red. Can't be no beautiful than that at Tony's Seafood. Welcome.
That certainly looks like a delicious lunch to me. Tony's Seafood carries crawfish through the end of the season, which should extend through the month of June. You'll be able to find a whole bunch of other goodies at Tony's as well, including boudin balls and fresh catfish swimming in a huge pool right there inside the store. Now, if you're looking for places to get your crawfish this weekend, we have an update on local crawfish prices for you. At Tony's Seafood in Baton Rouge, you can get some live crawfish for $2.49 a pound and boiled for $3.69 a pound. In Lafayette, the Crawfish Boss has live crawfish for $2.35 a pound, and you can let them do all the hard work for you, have them already boiled for $4 a pound. In Shreveport, Farmer's Seafood has live crawfish for $2.09 a pound, and boiled are $3.99 a pound. And of course, with this beautiful weather in the forecast and a beautiful crop coming in from the fields, demand will be high, so check with your local crawfish seller for prices and deals by phone, social media, or on the Crawfish app. Now, these crawfish prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which reminds you to always ask before you eat. In a recent Ag Minute, our friends at the Southern Food and Beverage Museum gave us pointers for harvesting our herbs. In this week's Ag Minute, we'll learn how to turn those fresh herbs into a quick and easy pesto sauce in a snap.
Greetings and welcome back to the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. Today we're in the Louisiana Kitchen and Gallery to show you what to do with some of those fresh herbs that we picked last week. And what we're going to do this week is make a very fun Louisiana-style pesto. It's Louisiana-style because we'll be using pecans instead of the usual pine nuts. We have all of the herbs from our garden, which you saw last week. It's a mixture of mint, basil, and lemon balm. And then we'll add to that our pecans, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and a good pinch of garlic. Once that's all in the food processor, I'm gonna go ahead and get your processor going, and then slowly add a ½ cup of oil. That's really gonna get it frying up and do what you want it to do. Once your fresh pesto is finished, give it a taste and adjust for salt and pepper. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for joining us again for another Ag Minute.
Thanks, Brent. I now have a great pasta side for my crawfish. To learn more about the Southern Food and Beverage Museum, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on Twila, we check in on Louisiana's sweetest crop. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm John Fielder, and I'm the Vice President, Branch Manager of the Louisiana Land Bank Shreveport Branch. In today's market, where interest rates are all-time low, it's very hard to find an investment that can compare to timber, something that's consistent, and typically if you manage timber correctly, it'll grow possibly as much as 6 to 8% or more. If you're looking for that loan for timber, for recreation property, for cattle, crops, call me, John Fielder at the Louisiana Land Bank.
It's a well-known fact that here in Louisiana, sugarcane is more than just a crop. It's a way of life. It creates more than 16,000 jobs across the state and an additional $3 billion boost to our state's economy. And Louisiana's cane families always give back to the communities where we live, work, and play. Louisiana sugarcane, making life sweeter, naturally.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane.
I'm a farmer.
I am a farm wife.
I am a cowboy.
I am a grass farmer.
I'm a businesswoman.
I'm a conservationist.
I am an advocate.
I am a voice for Louisiana farmers.
I'm always learning.
I'm a husband.
I'm a mom.
I am a dad.
I'm a granddad.
I am a consumer.
I grow the food that feeds your family, and I'm proud of it. I am Farm Bureau.
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 We are Farm Bureau.
August and September is usually the time when sugarcane is planted. However, at one patch in St. Gabriel, it's already going in the ground. This week, Twila's Neil Molason gives us a glimpse of the future with the latest varieties in sugarcane.
If sugarcane plants had a Grand Central Station, this would be it. These plants are rolled in and out of shelters to make sure they're protected because these are the parents of the next generation of sugarcane varieties. Dr. Collins Kimbe is the head sugarcane breeder here at the St. Gabriel Research Station and says it all begins with carefully selecting the right traits.
We look at things like sucrose content in and of itself. We look at cane yield. Okay, disease and insects also have the ability to rob us of that yield. So we look for parents that are resistant to the diseases that are endemic to Louisiana.
The LSU Ag Center released 2 new varieties this year, 885 and 267, both the products of years' worth of research. In fact, sugar per acre over the last 50 years of the breeding program has seen a 100% increase in fields.
If you look at it in terms of sugar per acre, we were getting somewhere around 4,000 to 4,500 pounds of sugar per acre. This past year, we averaged 8,300 pounds of sugar per acre. What's our record sugar per acre? 8,800 pounds of sugar per acre. So we've doubled the yields in the last 50 years. and that's all because of a robust breeding program.
But it's not just about increasing the raw amount of sugar content. The plants have to live all the way to harvest, so it's about the most sugar in the most hardy of plants. Once the traits have been selected, it's time to put the seedlings out, and that's what's happening this spring. There's 80,000 plants plus here over the station's 15 acres, and it will be a while before we know which ones have the best genetics.
We design these crosses, and then it's time to put them out into the field, and hopefully at the end of the 12-year cycle, we get a variety that's better than either parent.
So most of the seedlings you see behind me will not make it as far as being good potential new breeds. However, it's from this field that the next generation of sugarcane will emerge from. We just don't know which one it will be. Reporting from the St. Gabriel Research Station, I'm Neil Malasaw.
As you heard, hardiness is one of the traits that researchers tried to breed into new cane varieties. That came in handy this past February when a cold wave of below freezing temps came through all of Louisiana. Fortunately, Dr. Gravois said most of the state's sugarcane crop came through it unscathed.
Anytime you have a week's worth of sub-freezing temperatures, that's not good news. But look, the varieties that we have out there withstood the freeze very well. Not that it had zero effect, but it had minimal effect out there. So when you drive out and about at the industry, we have a really good cane crop out there. We're plowed out maybe just a few more acres than normal, but we expect this industry to be over 500,000 acres of cane this year with a very normal planting cycle. We don't think this put us behind the 8 ball at all.
Good news for cane growers for sure. Louisiana is the northernmost area in the world where sugarcane is grown. Still to come on Twila, we learn something new all the time. This week, you may learn something new about my partner on air, Kristen Oaks-White. Stay with us.
Landowners are minding the Louisiana forest for our grandchildren. A place for wildlife, recreation, lumber for homes. It's the right thing to do. Forestry, covering half our state, all of our hearts.
I'm Rudy Tempesta. I'm 92 years old. I fought in World War II. Then I came home, worked for the post office for 70 years. I've been getting Meals on Wheels, and I enjoy it. The most important thing about Meals on Wheels is you meet the people, which to me is fantastic. You need people to keep your brain moving. That's what life is about. It's love and having a conversation with people.
You've seen her standing here on this set for years now, and you've seen her incredible storytelling skills on full display. But what does Kristen Oaks-White do when she's not hosting Twila, shooting video, or managing all of the Louisiana Farm Bureau's social media accounts? Tammy Arnder lets us know in this week's Twila Boost.
Kristen Oaks-White was raised on a poultry farm in Ouachita Parish in northeast Louisiana.
My dad is a poultry farmer. He had all of these pictures where he was showing cattle in his grandmother's house, and I'd say, "What are you doing? What is this?" And I said, oh, I want to show cows.
She traveled the country showing Angus cattle from the time she was 11 years old till she was 21. She met her husband Landon while they were showing their cattle at the Delhi Livestock Show when she was just 13 years old. She obviously won more than blue ribbons. She won Landon's heart because they married 15 years later.
It will pass its own version.
She knew she wanted a career where she could combine her love of agriculture and her gift of gab, so she became a reporter and anchor for the TV show This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
So I get to do what I love most, and that is telling the farmer and rancher story to everyday people.
Now living in Natchez, Mississippi, Landon farms soybeans just across the Mississippi River in Concordia Parish. Here on their property in Adams County, they have guineas and chickens and a horse barn, but no horses. The horse barn is actually Kristen's art studio.
I love gardening. I love doing a lot of different things, but this is something that just, I could literally spend all day out here.
When COVID forced Kristen to quarantine, she reconnected with her creativity, putting brush to canvas with oils, acrylic, and watercolor, often painting her passions, agriculture, and items synonymous with Louisiana, like crawfish, Mardi Gras beads, and pelicans. Kristen has no plans to give up the TV job, but she has sold some of her artwork. But she says painting is her therapy, not her livelihood.
I think that a little piece of me goes into it because it's not just, sitting down and whipping up something in 15 minutes. It's working on it a little bit here, there, and it gets to where it's when I feel that it's good enough to give to you, and that a lot of time has been into it, just like the videos that I work on. You may say it shouldn't take you that long to edit a video or do a painting, but it does, because I feel like that's how I show value to something, is that I put every ounce of time and effort that I have into it.
For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Tammy Arender.
I love how she signs the paintings K-O-W, cow art, especially since she used to show Angus cattle. I think it's cool. Last week, Kristen celebrated a birthday, so we want to wish her a belated happy birthday. And if you want to learn more about her artwork, we'll link you over to it on our website at twilatv.org. That does it for this edition of Twila. Be sure to join us next week when we'll bring you a new field to feast with a different twist on Louisiana crawfish. It looks awesome. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we put out new content. For all of us here at Twila, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.